you are in the C-suite of one of Iman's businesses?
I suppose so, yeah. We worked with a company that was part owned by Anthony Joshua. We worked with a company that was part owned by Grylls. We've worked with the United Nations and like UK International Search and Rescue. All these sorts of things, if you were telling me when I was lying in that bed when I was 19 years old, I wouldn't have believed. Earning 0 to 10k a month is much harder than earning 10 to 20k a month. And 10 to 20k a month is much harder than earning 20 to 30k per month.
For the people that don't know at home, that's Iman Gadzhi's community, right?
Yeah, correct.
How did you get involved within the community and becoming quite a pivotal role as well?
In fairness to him, I don't think there's any other person out there who could bring all those people together. Love him or hate him, you get exactly what you're in for with him. If you want to go out and have a beer on a Friday night with your mates, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be a successful entrepreneur on the Monday. There is a time to work and really lock in and do business, but ultimately, as I said, there has to be an exchange of happiness for that as well.
What are some of the biggest lessons that you learned, and what did it take to really get to the position that you're in now?
Make mistakes while the cost is low. Because if you're making a mistake at £200, £300 a month, it's not the end of the world. Making a mistake at 10, 20, 30k, per month, which is something that I've definitely done and big time and paid the price. I think to myself, I would have rather have made that mistake sooner rather than later. We stayed in his villa in Spain. He's got a yacht, brand new yacht, it was amazing. But I just said to him, in your position, what is the biggest piece of advice? And sort of expect him to turn around and maybe give me like some long form answer about, you need to strategize and you need to go through all these systems and processes. But he just turned around and just said to me, that's how you get rich, really.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Gooms podcast. Today, we sat down with Louis, who went from having a career-ending injury to building an incredibly successful six-figure agency, working with the likes of Anthony Joshua, Grylls, the United Nations, and even Iman Gadzhi. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, I promise you this is not an episode to miss. Thank you for all the support on all the podcasts. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Enjoy the episode. How did we get the Lou that we have today? The agency owner, starting brands, part of other entrepreneurs' businesses. How do we get that, Lou?
Well, I suppose, where do we start? Bit of a long story. I'll condense it as to not bore people. But I suppose it all started when I moved away from home to play rugby when I was 15 years old. I suppose the route is a little bit less traditional than most of the guys who have been sat here. It taught me a lot about life, Moving away from home so young, I was very, very family orientated, and it was a big thing for me at 15 years old, but equally it was to pursue the dream that I always wanted to pursue. And yeah, as I said, long story short, played, lived, breathed rugby in Leicester for a team called Leicester Tigers for like 3-4 years. Had a really bad injury, literally crippled me. I was told that I would never play rugby again or any sort of sport.
What did you do?
Tore 7 ligaments in my knee.
ACL, MCL.
Yeah, for the doctors listening, I suppose ACL, MCL,
That's
PCL,
why I didn't make it
whatever.
In football as well. My knee.
The full works. One ligament wasn't good enough. So yeah, basically it had a 2-year recovery from it. And in the course of the first year, I was just lying in bed thinking, what am I going to do next? And sort of always took inspiration from my dad, who was a bit of an entrepreneur, and started my own business online. When I say own business, it was a little marketing agency, charging people 200, 300 quid a month to manage their social medias. It was actually rugby players to start with, targeting rugby players like me who had a bad injury, but had a bit of a personal brand to go and push whatever product or service they wanted to go into after the life of rugby. And that's how I started. And as I said, long story short, we just sort of scaled it from there, offering more services, better sort of client acquisition processes, working with clients from different countries. And I will save a little bit for the rest of the podcast, I suppose. But that's what got me sitting here in front of you two guys today.
What businesses does your dad have, or what business does he do?
Yeah, so it's a travel company. For over 50-year-olds, so very niche.
Very niche.
Very niche, but they've been doing that for 20 years now. So as I said, good little business. Mum and dad, extremely hard-working people. they're pretty much what I owe everything to today, in terms of, you know, whenever I'm speaking to anyone about, you know, who are your biggest inspirations, who are your heroes, everything like that. For me, it's not like your Elon Musks or your Jeff Bezoses. It's my dad and my mum.
I love that.
So yeah, really cool little business. I've been running for like the past 20 years. Still running to this day, which is really cool. Used to do little bits and bobs for them as well, which I suppose is where I sort of learnt the initial ropes.
I was say, do you help them out now?
Yeah, not so much anymore. The sort of stuff that we do now is probably moved a little bit more away from what their customer base needs and wants. You know, they very much do like that tertiary style newspaper advertising, magazine advertising, where we're like strictly digital space.
I suppose they're targeting somebody that's not really scrolling through their phone, right?
Yeah. Well, they're not targeting you, mate. You know,
Yeah.
they're
Well, I hope
targeting
so.
you.
I hope not. Do you know?
You'd be worried if they were. No,
Yeah.
they're targeting your nan and granddad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of, I suppose, even a different style of marketing altogether from what we're used to. Yeah, we're used to booting up the computer, you know, SEO, ads, websites, apps. Their whole stuff is like, you know, getting a brochure through the letterbox, opening up and seeing what deals are going that week. You know. So that's, I think, interesting within itself. Sorry.
That's all right.
You got it.
What? So you've started managing some of the players' social medias.
Yeah.
And then what was the business that you started right after that?
Yeah, so that was called Social 90, which is still my marketing agency to this day.
Oh, cool.
Our services have very much evolved and changed. There were a couple of things going on at the time which I got involved with, which, you know, I mentioned to you off camera, like selling building materials, basically. Just having a little bit of a dabble of everything. But the marketing agency for me is the one that really stuck. It's the one where I was like, for me, you know, especially seeing my mum and dad's style of business, which is a bit more traditional. Wow, I'm making 200, 300 quid a time from lying in bed with my knee still in a brace, staring at the ceiling. You know, I think I joked to you on the phone that when we were speaking before, I could only play so much Call of Duty, you know, until my brain was absolutely frazzled. I had to get out there and do something. I completely messed up my A-levels because couldn't do A-levels, couldn't actually make it to the exams. This was all happening around the time of my exams when I was injured. So yeah, I didn't even have a laptop, mate. I was literally like getting images, going on a social media, posting them from my phone, like no scheduling software, no chat GPT to help you with the copy. This was all off the dome for a 19-year-old. So yeah, and then as I said, we just sort of grew it, scaled it, started working with team members, which was again like a completely different thing that I wasn't used to. It was all ever off my own back, making like a couple grand a month. And then, yeah, working with more sort of higher profile clients. We worked with a company that was part owned by Anthony Joshua. We worked with a company that was part owned by Grylls. We've worked with the United Nations and like UK International Search and Rescue. All these sorts of things, if you were telling me when I was lying in that bed when I was 19 years old, I wouldn't have believed by now. If that makes sense.
You said that injury that you got effectively stopped you from pursuing your dream to play rugby at professional level. It ruined your career, right? Do you feel like it was also a blessing in disguise because without that injury, you may not have had that extra time to even think about a marketing agency or...
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would like to think if that injury wouldn't have happened, I would have probably been playing some form of like higher professional rugby now. Maybe not the Prem, but maybe the Champ, something like that, like a standard of professional rugby. And, you know, looking back, hindsight's brilliant. We all say that hindsight's a brilliant thing, but actually a really hard time in my life.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but look, hard time.
Nothing worse than when you can't move your body around, bro.
Yeah, mate, just
horrible.
Generally as well. Like, you know, hard times make for strong people, though. And I went through a point where, you know, I would wake up, I would go to the gym. From 15 years old, I would wake up, I would go to the gym, I would go to college, I would then go to rugby practice, I would eat, I would live with all of the guys who were in my team. We lived in a big house together. You imagine what that was like.
Lads, rugby boys,
every day, all day. We won't get into some of those stories. And then we just rinse and repeat, you know, for 3-4 years. So I went from that structure, that routine, almost military-like routine. It's the only comparison I could give, to essentially none of that structure, none of that routine, being a professional rugby player 1 minute to waking up the next day, being in a brace, having an operation.
Feeling like a professional bum?
Yeah, professional bum.
Yeah.
I think that's what my mum thought I was.
Yeah.
Thinking, what am I going to do next? And that, yeah, rightly so, mate, very dark time in my life. But equally, as well as all the things that rugby taught me, that taught me a lot as well. You know, overcoming adversity, having to be adaptive and think on my feet, and you know, be resourceful. What could I do to make money? I didn't want to just scrounge off my mum and dad. I felt like I was doing that enough while I was lying in bed, having to be waited on hand and foot, you know, having to, you know, just have help with every aspect of life. I was like a baby. So yeah, I had to be resourceful, think on my feet, and I suppose that was the catalyst to being where I am now, starting my business, and, you know, I suppose learning some really hard lessons from a young age.
Were your first clients like previous teammates and people within your network? Because I can imagine you're not going out and outreaching. You can't really move. Yeah. You haven't got any kind of credibility or testimonials beforehand to say that what you're selling works.
Yeah.
How did you manage to get your first couple of guys through the door?
So the rugby community is really incestuous. Just like everyone knows everyone, even if you're playing in different teams or whatever. And it's equally like a little bit of a family. You know how hard it is to start working with a new client who doesn't necessarily know you, doesn't necessarily trust you. If you're a rugby player, you've already got that like rapport. And what I always compared it to people was, if you want to work with a client, you need a particular topic to be able to synergize on. My topic was always rugby. Even to this day, a lot of my clients love that I play rugby. They love the core morals and values that rugby players have. You know, compared to football, that stuff that you like, you know, they always say that like rugby is a game of hooligans played by gentlemen, where football is a game of hooligans. No, sorry. Rugby is a game for hooligans played by gentlemen, where football is a game for gentlemen played by hooligans. And that's always like stick with me. I always get comments on it about like the whole rugby ethos and hard workers and very dedicated and that sort of thing. And yeah, when we first started, we just got put in touch with these sorts of players. We used to do a lot of cold outreach via DM, which, you know, if you're an agency owner watching this, you know how hard that is. But our little foot in the door used to be, we also used to be rugby players as well. We know what it's like. We know how hard it is. We know what it's like after sport, because I was a prime example of completely having your life ripped apart and trying to make something of it after that. And that was our always little foot in the door, I suppose.
Do you feel like you're happy with the way that it happened? Would you be happier playing Champs Rugby, or would you be happy running the agency that you run and multiple businesses and living the life that you live now?
Yeah, I suppose we change as people. If I was back then, if you were to ask me that question, no, I want to be a professional rugby player. Yeah. You know, I used to like that bit of like street cred that come with it, I suppose, for lack of a better phrase. But look, if you were to equally say to me, you're going to have this life over the next 5 years, you know, I'm just a normal guy from Wolverhampton. Yeah. Not from the best of areas. Didn't, you know, have the best of circles growing up. Had okay circles, had a great childhood, everything like that. But I would have never have believed that I would have lived the life over the past 5 years that I've lived, if that makes sense. The places I've been, the people I've seen, you know, the things that I've done. Yeah, I would take this life. If you were to ask me now, I would take the life that I've had over the past 5 years over the life of playing rugby any day. And not just that, I'm probably earning a lot more and creating much more of a future for myself than I would have been able to playing the standard of rugby that I was playing, particularly the position that I was. Very short, you know, played front row, very short career. You know, your neck and your back are busted up by the time you're mid-30s. You know, no one really wants that. And then you sort of leave rugby, and you've still got another 20 years of your professional life left. What are you doing after that? So I'd like to think I had a little bit of a head start, even though the first couple of years were pretty rough. I'd like to think that I have a bit of a head start on even people who I went to school with, went to uni in that more traditional path, I think.
Yeah. Where have you scaled your agency to at the moment?
In terms, well...
If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah. I actually will be super controversial, and it's one of the things I don't like speaking about. And I think I mentioned it to you before, is because so many people I see sit on podcasts and, you know, I got to 100k a month. I got to $1 million a month. What is the definition of that? Is that earning 100k every single month for the whole of the rest of the year? Is it just earning 100k 1 month? and then you're doing, 100K a month. And I don't like speaking about it because I just think everyone compares themselves to each other, especially in the agency space. We were speaking earlier about what you're doing and the niche that you're trying to focus on. I was trying to give you a little bit of advice on that. And I think that it doesn't fucking matter what I'm doing. It doesn't, sorry to swear, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. Yeah, crop that out.
No, you're good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. And to be honest with you, I don't really care how much money anyone else is making. I'm just going to do me.
Love that.
I'm living a great life. I like to think that I provide a great life for the important people around me, and I'm earning enough to do that. I get to travel. I don't necessarily at this point in my life have to worry about any bills or expenses that I have. How much money is that? I don't know. How much money does someone need to do that? It's probably different for you than it is for me. I'd say I'm happy, and that's what matters.
That's a great answer.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you.
That was like some PR train, like learned it at rugby, like growing up.
The question that I was going to lead on from that, though,
yeah,
would have been nice if we got a figure to maybe lead on from
that.
Yeah. That's the question. But what are some of the biggest lessons that you learned, and what did it take to really get to the position that you're in now?
Yeah,
just with the agency space.
Yeah. So what I would say on that, if you want the arbitrary figures, is earning 0 to 10K a month is much harder than earning 10 to 20K a month. And 10 to 20K a month is much harder than earning 20 to 30K per month. And what I mean by that is your systems and processes are the only things that changes once you hit past a certain revenue mark per month. Your client acquisition doesn't really change, because once you get past 10K, you pretty much nailed your client acquisition, how you're getting clients and how you're pitching to clients. The only thing that changes is your ability to deliver the service to them, and not just that, deliver a 10 out of 10 service to them. Because how you get from 10 to 50K per month is delivering your service, but delivering it
to more people.
What was that?
To more people.
To more people, exactly.
Yeah.
Being able to cope with demand, scale your team, and also keep consistency with delivering that service. One of the you have this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is essentially when you first start like your business, but let's say for our instance, an agency, when you first start your business, your confidence is really high, but your skill set is low. So you go through like this really big peak, like you get your first couple clients on board, everything's brilliant. And then what happens is you go into this trough, which they call the valley of despair. And this is where I see most agencies in particular fail. So this is where actually their knowledge has grown. Because their knowledge has grown, they actually are now more aware to the pitfalls and the issues that they have to overcome. So their confidence goes down. And they get stuck in this valley of despair, which is normally around the 10 to 11K mark per month. If you're in that valley of despair around 10 to 11K mark per month, this is where I see most agencies fail. If you can get out of that, you go on this like upward trajectory, 20, 30, 40K per month, you hit what's called the plateau of sustainability. The issue with getting out that valley of despair is people, they're like, oh, I've got to 10K in 6 months. That means that I'm going to get to 20K in the next 6 months. It doesn't necessarily work like that. You need to really like bolt down what your niche is, who you're speaking to, your acquisition, your service delivery. All of that, I think, actually has to be revamped from 0 to 10K. That's what I'd say if you want those arbitrary revenue markers. That 10 to 11K, if you can break that, particularly with a marketing agency, because that's the thing that I know the most about. It's the place that I was stuck for a very long time. It's the place that I see a lot of the people who I mentor get stuck. If you can break that, you'll have a very successful business.
It's really interesting that you said the more your knowledge goes up, effectively the lower your confidence goes, because it opens up your awareness to how far off you are in other spaces and other little things that need to change.
Yeah,
and I really feel that because
I feel like we're currently in the valley of
despair. Yeah.
We're gonna break through it though. We will break through it.
Look, apart from all of what I will say to you is, look, I don't run the best agency in the world. I run an okay agency. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is we might not have the best service, but everything that we say we're going to deliver, we will deliver it to you by hook or by crook. And I think a lot of that is just being honest with yourself. Everyone can start a business. Not everyone should start a business. I think I said this both to you earlier. a lot of people get to that 5, maybe 10K mark, and they think that they're God's gift. They think that they're shit. They're not, because you've got so much to learn. Just because you're earning 10K a month, which, let's be fair, is a lot of money, a lot more money than the average person in the UK. Yeah. Just because you're earning that every month doesn't mean that like you're God's gift and the shit. Just because you're, earning 50K a month, you're a speck of dust into what some of these guys in the online space earn. Yeah. And the difference is that you need to be self-aware enough to know that. You need to be self-aware enough to actually be prepared to grow and develop and completely be open to like you guys mentioned you're doing at the moment, restructure your whole offer. Because if you don't, someone else will come along and just rip that business from you. I've had it done to me before. I had loads of clients when I was like 5K mark and just completely had that all ripped away from me. Now our actual model, which maybe I'm exposing some of my trade secrets, I would rather work with less clients paying more money than more clients paying less money. I suppose that's all down to risk profile, and if you lose a client who's paying more money, then your average revenue is affected, at a higher percentage. But just less hassle and really focus with dealing with the decision makers, the business owners. That's sort of my secret sauce, I suppose.
Yeah. And I suppose as well, the less moving parts you've got, the more time you've got to focus on your product, on your service, to not only make sure it ticks and you're getting the results, but to make it better.
The biggest piece of advice I can give to anyone, again, I will attribute this in the agency space, is just keep it simple. I just got back from Spain, and one of the guys who was there, we stayed in his villa in Spain. He's got a yacht, brand new yacht, it was amazing. I asked him, he's run a really successful business, selling second-hand trucks, completely different to what we were used to. I think he sold some land as well to Amazon or something like that. But I just said to him, in your position, because this guy wasn't just, wealthy, he was like wealthy. What is the biggest piece of advice? And sort of expect him to turn around and maybe give me like some long form answer about, you need to strategize and you need to, go through all these systems and processes. I can't give you a good example, but he just turned around and just said to me, just keep it simple. And even within his answer, he kept it simple. He just says, whatever your product or service that you've got that you're delivering, just deliver it in the simplest possible format to the customer. Just keep it simple. Keep as many as your operations, keep as much as your structure, keep as much as your acquisition. Just keep the whole process as simple as possible and you'll make money. And I thought that was a great piece of advice. So often, especially like younger business owners, we get into this like almost web of, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. His just view was like, from point A to point B, just go for the least possible resistance, and you'll make money.
Does he mean keep it simple in regards to what you put forward to the client, or actually your systems and processes within the agency, within your service that you're providing, keep that simple?
I think he meant everything. I mean, like even in particular, to give like an example to it, we're speaking about his website. He's like, all of our competitors have spent like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds on their websites, which is probably right for that sort of industry as they grow and that sort of thing, especially if like they've got a marketplace website. But he was like, just on my website, he goes, I post a photo of the vehicle, I tell them how much it is, there's a simple inquiry form, they inquire and they buy it. And I think he was just on about everything, to be honest with you. And who am I to tell him at the end of the day? He's the one sitting there on his like £3 million yacht, smoking a cigar, giving me advice.
So, man's selling trucks,
So
impressive.
That's what I thought.
Do you know what's it's crazy how much money there is there, bro, and how many people make massive amounts of money in industries that you just wouldn't even they don't even cross.
Well, the thing is, mate, I didn't learn this until maybe 3 years ago, and there is so much money in the world. We were speaking about, living abroad and moving abroad and that sort of thing, and there is so much money in the world. We are conditioned, especially I think younger people from the UK, to keep it in the family in the UK, don't go abroad, don't look further afield. But when you look at the money in like the UAE, in America, the whole relationship with money is completely different as well. They don't expect 30-day payment terms or 60-day payment terms in some instances. There's money in industries that you'd never even consider. We like that Wi-Fi sort of money because, and I imagine everyone does who's watching this, but realistically, the guys who make the most money, the guys selling trucks, the guys who are selling nuts and bolts or like that sort of thing, that's how you get rich really, which I suppose is counterintuitive to our audience.
Yeah. And what we do.
And what we do, yeah. So if you're watching this Go and sell some nuts and bolts and get rich. Don't start a marketing agency.
Don't do anything that we do, and you'll be rich.
But look, the one thing I would say about marketing agency, I will never be able to sell my marketing agency for millions of pounds. I know that. But what it does allow me to do is have that additional capital, that additional revenue to go and actually invest into other things I'm more passionate about, which are probably a bit more of the long game, the little bit more of the big exits. Yeah.
What other businesses are you investing in and starting up now?
Yeah, so there's two main things. One of them is my course, which is called This is Agency Architecture. That's just literally teaches you how to get to an extra 2 to 3K per month as an agency owner.
From 0 to 2 to 3.
Yeah. So my view was there's loads of courses out there. Courses way better than mine.
Get to 10, get to 20, get to 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Get to 10, get to 20, get to 50. You know, mate. And they're probably way better than anything I could produce to get there. Mm-hmm. But my just view was, if I can teach the average person, the average freelancer, or someone who's interested in like the online space to get to an extra 2 to 3K per month, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to a lot of people. I think that's a lot of money. If you were to turn around to me when I was 90 years old and say, I'm going to give you a vessel to make an extra 2 to 3K per month, I'd turn around and snap your hand off. And, you know, an extra 30 to 40K per year, that is a lot of money, especially if you're like, you're looking at the demographic.
Salary in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And especially if you're looking as like the demographic of people who would be purchasing that, they're probably already in full-time employment. They're looking to do something a bit on the side on the weekends, in the evenings, that sort of thing. So that was my idea of the course. It's very direct, very straight talking. I don't beat around the bush. I'm not going to tell people how to build out the best systems and the best processes or run the most complex ads and teach about retargeting and teach you about how to script ads and write hooks. It doesn't teach that. It's just going to teach you the very simple foundational basics to get your first clients on board, earn extra 2 to 3K per month. So that's sort of my thing aside from my agency. And I've genuinely, I hate when people just bring out a course and they know nothing about it. That's taken me 6 years to develop that. You know, from running my agency since I started it, using all of those learnings, just get to people in earning and learning in the quickest way possible is the way I position it.
Is that a passion project, Pretty? Before you go into your other one, is it something that's like, I want to give back?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not free, so you know, maybe one day I will give it away completely for free, Hormozy style, you know.
Go.
Yeah, a bit of a passion project, I'd say. When I used to run my podcast, we never used to monetize it, never used to take sponsorships, a bit like you guys. Genuinely did it just out of the love for wanting to help people. My view was, if I can get like an 18, 19-year-old person who was in my situation, who had relatively limited resources and knowledge at the time, to get them in a position where they can earn an extra little bit of money every month, that would have been really rewarding to me, and that's what the course is.
Can you spill some sauce on the pod for the listeners or not?
In terms of...
Can't give away the course for free, man. That's what you just said.
No, I'm not saying give the course away for free. Free value for the people that are listening.
Discount code Gooms podcast.
So, yeah. Do we get commission as well?
I'm here with that.
3% off. No, in terms of the course, there's actually a free community out there where I've uploaded a module completely for free.
And where can people go and access that?
It's on school. So you can just go on thisisagencyarchitecture.com. There's a free link to the school there. You can join it. Hosting a monthly Q&A there for people. Go join it. Obviously, if you want to buy the rest of the course, then you can go and chuck me some money. But apart from that, just be part of the free community. You know, take as much off me as you can. And then the current sale price for the course is $750. That's a year access, which I actually think is very, very good value for money.
Very reasonable, really.
Yeah, and also like in the actual paid community, I literally only launched a course last week while I was away in Ibiza, which in hindsight was probably not the best time to launch a course. But when the ads funnels start up for it, when I start pumping onboarding and everything like that, you know, I'm happy to commit to giving people as much time as possible, you know, answering questions that people might have into the community, hosting like a weekly call, all these sorts of things. Ultimately, as I said, what I really is important to me is coming across as very relatable. Very like, I have been in a lot of these people's situation. I've been in worse situation, just not knowing what I was going to do with my life. And if that course can help someone for the sake of them having access to the free community, or actually if they were to buy it it for like the $750 that it is and create a load of value for them, then yeah, it's great to be able to sell something and sell an online product. But genuinely, like, if it can help someone, that also goes a long way with me. Mm-hmm. So I'll always try to help someone as much as I can, just, you know, generally. Mm-hmm.
It's really dope, bro.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
It's really dope.
So that's like the second thing. And then the third thing is a little bit more of a unicorn idea. So it's called No Way. So NOWHEY. It's basically a canned protein drink. So it's clear protein, but it's going to be like apple or mango flavour. We're just literally in the recipe development phase at the moment.
And it's No Way.
Yeah, No Way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, that's trademarked as well, if any of you looking to steal mine.
I like it.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just like 330ml can, so like a Red Bull can. 20 grams of protein we're aiming for, around 100. If we can get sub 100 calories, we'll do that. For me, you know, my rugby playing background, smash the protein, smash the whey. For me, it really churns my stomach up, makes my skin bad, makes you feel heavy. Most people just chug their protein shake as well. They don't actually enjoy it. So the idea is that this will be convenient, it'll be vegan, it'll be in petrol stations, it will be in vending machines, and yeah, it will actually be able to, if you're not like me, you're into your training, mate. I've seen your Instagram. But it's like, if you're like trying to get 220 grams of protein a day, that's actually
tough.
That's tough, mate. If you bang a can of that in the morning, bang a can of that in the evening, you're pretty much on your way. 150 to 180 you're hitting through food, and then the rest obviously through like supplementation.
That's really cool, man.
Thank you.
What I'm interested about this, what's the process like of actually creating the product? Yeah. And bringing it to life. Obviously, I know that you're just in the tasting, in the recipe phase at the moment. But what is that process like? Yeah,
so for me, it's been a massive learning curve as well. As saying, I definitely want to precursor this by saying I am not a e-com or a product-based expert. Obviously, my businesses have always been like very much service-based and delivering that B2B service-based sort of marketing. It is essentially, to start with, a lot more expensive than I originally realised. Loads of people have got great ideas. I see why all these great ideas aren't in the universe. So we've broken it down into essentially 3 phases. Recipe development. So that's coming up with like 2 SKUs, like 2 flavour SKUs, which at the moment are looking like apple or mango. We've done a load of market research and everything before that to dictate what people are looking for out of the product and in terms of flavour profile and that sort of thing. The main thing for us is that it tastes good. Like, there's so many whey protein shakes on the market that I just think they sort of hit the mark, but not quite there.
No, I think especially the clear, because I feel like you're more tapping into, although you are fighting protein powders in general, I feel like you're more so fighting like the clear whey. So I feel like that's where they're the same. And for me, the clear whey tastes ass.
Yeah, oh really? Okay.
I genuinely really don't like it. I've only ever tried it once.
Saying, oh really, because his tastes similar to it. Is that what?
No. Mate, we ain't got that far.
Okay. I'd say it's not powders, is it?
No, so the issue is with clear protein is it's normally derived from a few different things. So you've got bovine collagen, you've got plant-based collagen, or you've got pea protein. The issue is a lot of clear proteins are derived from pea protein, and if it's not mixed with enough water, it tastes quite chalky. Mm-hmm. So we're sort of going down 2 routes. We want to be vegan, not because it's something that I personally feel massively passionate about. I think it's a convenient byproduct to the product in general. So plant-based collagen. The issue with plant-based collagen is it's quite expensive. So all of a sudden you've got, and this is where I think I mentioned it gets a lot more expensive than people realise. You don't actually make money off the first drop or the second drop. You're actually losing money, per se, because we realistically, if you're selling a can for £2.50, you need to get like the price per item sub £1, which is very, very hard once you've got recipe, manufactured, the canning, the labelling on a run of like less than 30,000 litres. Now, to put into perspective, if you were to order a run of 30,000 litres, it's probably costing you in excess of like 40, 50k upwards, on an idea that you have no idea if it's going to work. If anyone wants to buy it, it's just what you think is a good idea. And another piece of advice I would give to someone watching this is, especially men are particularly bad at this, but just because you think something is a good idea doesn't mean it's a good idea. You can feel super passionate about something and super like exhilarated about something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a great idea and that people are going to buy it. Just because I think, no way is a great idea, do I then go and spend 50k on ordering 30,000 litres of it and like 50 odd pallets? Where are you putting those pallets? Who's storing those pallets? All these sorts of things I never thought about. So that's been quite an interesting journey. So as I said, you've got phase 1, which is like recipe development. We found someone who can make it and who's confident to make it.
Where do you find a supplier? Or a manufacturer? Something like this.
A lot of research, to be honest with you. I'd plug them, but I don't want anyone stealing the idea, to be honest with you, Harris.
No, I'm not asking you to plug them. Just out of curiosity, like what you do, and you scouring the web to try and find a manufacturer.
Scouring the web, mate. Luckily, my business partner in this is, his business was actually on Dragon's Den.
Oh, cool.
And I'm bringing like the marketing side. He's also one of my best friends. I'm bringing the marketing side. He's bringing the e-com side. Very, very smart guy. Someone who, a bit like you pair actually, probably spend more waking hours with him than I do with my missus.
High five.
Yeah. But yeah, very smart guy. A lot of knowledge about the e-com background. All the stuff that I didn't necessarily know about, the packaging, the 3PL sort of distribution style of stuff, that's all his realm and something that I feel very confident that he can deliver. So he sort of took a lot of that burden off me. I've been more of sort of pitch deck, branding. We want to do that recipe development journey together because we think it's important and that's a joint effort. Raising capital through my network and that sort of thing.
Using each other's superpowers to come together to create one super product.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm not sure if I've got any superpowers, but I'm very flattered.
Hey, you're too humble, bro.
Yeah.
Too humble.
Touched on network.
Yeah.
You've got a pretty strong network from what we spoke about. How did you go about building that network from the 19-year-old that's charging £300-500 a month to now building up an amazing network filled with some great entrepreneurs?
To be honest with you, just grinding it out and just being a bit annoying, to be honest with you. I put the biggest reliance on networking over anything, any aspect or any pillar of my business. It's how my agency has got all of our business. We don't really run ads. We have a website. Don't push loads of our own SEO product on our website. I don't post 5 reels a week, giving people marketing advice on my Instagram. All of it is through network, word of mouth. I generally find that with our clients, because they're more higher ticket clients, that, one of our clients who's a business owner is recommending us to his free golfing buddies that he's out with on a Saturday. Go work with Lewis at Social 90. He's got loads of results for me. You have to...
A referral is the strongest way to get a new client, isn't it?
100% has the most sentiment. To get referrals, though, you need to be really good at what you do. Because equally, my client on a Saturday who's playing golf with his free buddies, he's not going to recommend me to his free buddies if I've done a shit job. That's why I say whatever you're going to do, just make sure you deliver it in the best possible format. Find the needle that moves the success metric the most to the client, whatever that may be. With dentists, is it leads? Is it appointments? Is it money through the door? Find whatever metric it is to success and just be soul orientated on moving that metric to success.
I saw this, Hormozy put out this post the other day, and it was like 3 guys, and 2 of them were really angry at each other, and one of them was really happy. It was like sales and marketing, like really angry at each other, and then it was product, like really happy. I was like, it's literally the most important thing that you can offer. It doesn't matter what niche, what realm you're in terms of a service or product-based business. It is the most important thing that you can possibly have.
100%, mate, because, you've got that age-old, marketer is going to bring you the leads, your salespeople need to close them. None of that really matters unless the product and the fulfillment is key. Like the fulfillment of your product is everything, no matter within your own service or the client service who you're working with. Like another little piece of advice I suppose I'd give is you should not just be working with clients for the sake of it. You need to know that, and this is actually something I think you only learn the hard way, you have to kiss a few frogs to find your princess with clients. I've worked with so many clients where on the surface they look like great businesses, they've got great products and they've got great services, and they haven't been able to fulfill their own their own service or product, which means how am I meant to bring them genuine leads who want to buy their product, but if they can't fulfill it, it's sort of a dead duck. And then what happens there is they end up getting pissed off because they can't close or they can't sell. You don't get a good retention, and then it's your fault. Yeah, it's your fault. Ultimately, it's always your fault, and it's just a waste of everyone's time. You want to actually make sure that you're working with good businesses with like good reviews, good portfolio, good track record. Otherwise, it would just come to bite you further down the line, which is definitely something that you don't want. We have great retention of clients. I think that part of that is due to like the, one-to-one service that I offer them individually. I'm always on the phone and always checking in on them. A lot of people would say that that's counterintuitive when scaling because you want to sort of offload as much of that as possible. But what I would say is most of the clients who I'm working with, they're pretty serious hitters within their industry. I enjoy speaking to them. I enjoy learning off them.
Sick.
I enjoy having relationships with them. And that's something why I think we have great retention because we're really focused on fulfilling a great product for them, but also because we know that they've got a great product to be able to fulfill.
Yeah. You said you got to kiss a few frogs before you find your princess.
Yeah.
To, let's say, somebody that's looking to buy your course, that's looking to get that 2-3K through as recurring monthly revenue, would you say be selective with who you work with at that stage, or would you say just go and kiss as many frogs as possible?
It's a difficult one, I suppose. And it's something that I actually don't cover that in the course, and maybe I need to.
Hey. So now the Gooms pod's got up to 5% off.
Yeah. A sneaky module in it now. I think, look, you don't have the choice to be so selective when you start out, right? If you're focusing on a niche or something like that and you're going for that niche wholeheartedly, then you don't have that choice to be so like, I'm going to work with them, I'm not going to work with them. Ultimately, one of the first things I do teach in my course is to make mistakes. We have such this counterintuitive mentality, especially in the UK, when it comes to making mistakes. Mistakes are bad. We shouldn't make mistakes. They're bad for business. Make mistakes while the cost is low. Because if you're making a mistake at £200, £300 a month, it's not the end of the world. If you're making a mistake at 10, 20, 30K, per month, which is something that I've definitely done and fucked up big time and paid the price, I think to myself, I would have rather have made that mistake sooner rather than later. So I think that's all part of our development, right? Within our agencies, really like fine tuning, who we want to work with, why we want to work with them, and more importantly, what results can we achieve for them.
So would you say you've got to kind of like earn the right to be selective?
100%. And I think that will just naturally sort of show its head as you grow and you scale and that sort of thing. Not everyone is in the position to be able to turn down business. I have 2 leads that I'm working with at the moment, and I got a text off one of them today, and it really made me think, do I want to be working with this person? Mm-hmm. Is that someone that I can see myself delivering our service to? Because while they're really keen and they really want to work with this, and actually the deal that we've spoken to them about interests me a lot. Do I want to be working with that sort of person if the relationship isn't right? Because I've paid the price from that before by, and not just that, I've lost money. It's not just been a reputational thing. I've lost money.
What happened? If you don't mind me asking.
Essentially, 2 clients I've had. One of them was a client in the music and events industry. Another one was in the e-com space. Both of them, getting paid is great while you're getting paid. At the moment, and especially on retainers and monthly retainers, it's all very well and good until you don't get paid. The point that you don't get paid is the point that you lose out. And, everyone obviously within agents just works at different profit margins, but both of those clients just, 1 month basically didn't pay me. One of them closed down. The other one closed down over like a long sort of process and just never got paid. And the writing was on the wall for a long time, particularly with one of them. And I just sort of, it happened to me with the music and events industry client well before that, and I sort of didn't learn my lesson. Where now I have learnt my lesson. Everyone pays in full upfront. No one gets credit, no one gets payment terms. If you don't want that, then if you want that, and that's not something we can agree on, then we don't work together. I'd rather have be not losing out, if that makes sense.
Well, so you take all of the, let's say it's a 6-month contract, for instance, you take a complete upfront payment?
No, upfront month by month.
Okay.
So
before you do any work, you're getting paid for the month.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the other things that people really like about my agency is we actually don't have contracts. The reason why I'm able to offer that is because we get paid up front. So let's say you're offering someone a 7K per month retainer. They pay 7K at the start of the month, and then month on month past that. Because all of a sudden, let's say for one of your dentistry clients, they're on a 5 or a 10K a month retainer. By the end of that month, they don't pay the 10K. Then all of a sudden, the service just completely stop. You wreck your rapport with them. You wreck the relationship with them. They're going, oh, I'm going to pay you next week. Then all of a sudden, next week doesn't come. You're still going to work with them the week after. Then before you know it, 3 weeks have passed, and they owe you 20K. And then all of a sudden, you're in twice as much as of a pit. And I think as well, in the UK in particular, you're not getting your money back for that. Do you know what I mean? Like what you're doing, you're raising like a CCJ with them. That takes another 30 days. Then all of a sudden, if you even if you're awarded like the CCJ, that takes another 30 days. And then before you know it, you've done 4 months without getting paid. Do you know what I mean? So always get your money up front. I'd say to any younger agency owner watching this, there's no reason if they can pay for it with 30-day payment terms, they can pay for it without any payment terms. Does that make sense?
Would you offer that purely because you're so confident that after your month's work, they're going to want to pay again for the next month? Obviously, some people will put a contract, especially at the early stages of their agency, they're going to put a contract in front of someone for the security of for the next 6 months, X is coming in. If you are in that 0 to 10K bracket and you're paying for an office, you've got certain kind of team members on board, those contracts are that security for you to know that it's coming in. Obviously, you're at a different stage where you might not need the contract in place. You don't know how long this client's going to stay on for, but you're confident within the service that you're giving them. So you can say, look, listen, we don't need a contract. You can pay me for 1 month, and if you're not happy with the service, you can just pull out and we'll go our separate ways. Is that?
Yeah, so I literally just say to clients, look, if it's not working, if the client has no reason to not pay us if we're not delivering results for them. If we're not delivering results for them, I don't want to work with them. They shouldn't want to work with me. I'm just... This is maybe, again, bit me on the arse a couple of times for being too direct with it. But we aren't meant to be working with each other if one of us isn't happy, if that makes sense. And that's why we don't have contracts. Just give me 30 days notice period, like gentleman's agreement. That's all really we require. In the fortunate position, I've structured my agency with relatively low overheads. And yeah, I can see why people might want to put like a 6 to 12 months contract in place. But let me ask you this. Again, we'll use your dentist analogy. Cool. If I'm you and you're a dentist over there and I say, yeah, I want to offer you this ad service. It's going to cost you 10K over the next 12 months. I want you to sign a 12-month contract with a 3-month notice period. That 3-month notice period is worth 30K to them. How does that make you feel as a dentist? Does that make you feel like it's something, do you think that's going to increase or decrease, my conversion rate if I'm you? Where if I were to turn around and say, well, actually, it's 10K per month, but you know what? I'm not going to just give me 30 days notice period, which is worth 10K. Give me 30 days notice period. If everything's good and I'm getting results for you, trust the process. There's always a setup process and a startup process. I actually think any business owner who's been around the block knows that when you're starting a new service, like marketing service, it's going to take 1 to 2 months to kick in. Give us a month or two grace period to get going. But then after that, if I'm not delivering results for you, I don't want to lock you into a 12-month contract because I'm not getting results for you. Why do we want to work together? It wastes everyone's time. I'm not going to get a good case study from working with you. I'm not going to be able to go, we delivered 100 leads per month for you. Yeah. Nah, just be transparent and genuine with it. And your conversion rate on that will be much higher. It's one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I get. I had a client about 2 months ago, are you going to send me the contract? I turn around and go, no, we don't do contracts. Don't worry about it, mate. What? Really? Yeah, like they couldn't believe it. And they went, that's good. And it's something that I get a lot of feedback about.
It's like you build that trust as well, isn't it? A little bit. It's like, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you.
Unfortunately, marketers have a very bad reputation of just take, never really delivering what they say they're going to deliver on. I'd like to think even the customers who we've parted ways with, for whatever reason, they would still give us a good case study. They would still say that they're happy to have dealt with us and that actually we did deliver a good service. Sometimes, again, I will hold my hand up and say, we haven't been able to deliver 100% out of 100% service to a customer, because naturally that's not the way the world works. There's pitfalls sometimes, there's things that go on with a business. One of our biggest clients that we had, I actually think we're doing a very good job for them. We stopped working together with them because they actually had a load of issues operationally within their own business that they had to deal with, and we're bringing you X amount per leads per month. You don't even have a CRM to track them. So how can we know that we're actually doing a good job? And they were one of our biggest paying clients. I think they're at one point on like a 12K a month retainer. Big retainer. So yeah.
Predominantly, where are your clients based?
Most of them are in the UK, in fairness. We've had clients in America, Poland.
Because we had a conversation about this off camera.
Yeah.
About specifically US clients, because I spoke with someone who you connected me with.
Yeah. And
he said that there was a certain benefits to working with US clients. Like what are those? From experience as well.
Yeah. Their relationship with money is very different. That's number one.
Yeah, man, $12,000, that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, business owners over there, they are generally, maybe I'm creating a rod for my own back on this, but their left and their right in America is very further apart than our left and our right in the UK. And I think that the wealth gap in the US is much larger because of that than the wealth gap in the UK. I think that business owners there, they're just like, there's a lot more business owners over there earning a lot more money than there is in the UK. And I think they're just very happy to just like pay upfront, pay larger amounts. I had a business before I mentioned for selling building supplies, and this was my first sort of taste of the American market. We sold a load of building supplies, and they paid upfront, pretty much charged them double the amount, because I was like, see what, I'm going to have to get it there. I was worried about insurances and that sort of stuff, and like breakages and it getting there. So I charged them double the amount. I never expected them to pay for it. Paid it, up front. And I got a call. This was what must have been when I was 19 years old, and like it was like 50K worth of product. And they just paid over the phone. I said to my dad, I called my dad and I've gone, Dad, they just paid 50K on the credit card over the phone. And he went, nah, that'll never go through. And I thought, yeah, probably not. It'll bounce or something like that. Maybe a bit of a scam. Well, it went through, no problem. And that was like my first taste of like selling to the American market.
That's so sick.
I actually went to that client now is still a friend to the day. She's a big private landlord in New York. I went to her house. One of the most like beautiful houses I've ever been to. It's like a 440 West 20th Street in Manhattan or something like that. Amazing house. And like I asked her about it. I remember asking about it. I was like, I can't believe I'm here, because I flew out to New York to like have a look and see the product installed, and I said, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe when I quoted that you'd pay it. She was like, yeah, you're actually like 3 times as cheap as anyone else that we got the price off.
He's probably thinking,
yeah. And I'm like, Jesus. And basically what happens in
And
America,
you doubled it.
Yeah. And I think I doubled it. I didn't just double it to try and make more money. I doubled it.
Sense.
Yeah, I doubled it because I was shitting myself that like it was going to get lost, or it wasn't going to get there. Some of it was glass, so it was going to break, and that sort. So I wanted to make sure that there was enough margin there for us to be able to replace it or deal with any issues without having to charge her. So when I say double it, obviously just increase the margin. But and basically what happens was they in America apparently, from what she was telling me, they don't produce it there. A lot of the building materials they import. So she was like, all anyone does there, American companies, is they're not making it there. They just import it and they just sell it on. But yeah, back to sort of the original, I suppose, question is their relationship with money is a lot different. They're used to paying a lot more. Even when you look down to the absolute, the visceral part of their tipping culture there,
I was literally just thinking of that.
The expectation to tip there. If our server went to us now, if we were to go to, I don't know, you're going to take me for a nice Wagamama's or something in a minute. If our server went to us, stood there, literally stands at your table and is looking at you staring, and you're thinking, what are you looking at me staring for? It's because they want to tip, and that's the way in America. Like, their relationship.
It's so alien.
Yeah, it's alien to us, but there it's different. If you don't tip your server in America, it's like you're a bad person, that sort of thing. And I saw this TikTok video the other day, and it's like she was delivering like something to her door, like a DoorDash, and she went, "Oh yeah, don't pay attention to the note inside there." And it said, I haven't spat in your food this time, but next time you should remember to tip your server or tip your delivery driver. And that's like a delivery driver.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
Crazy.
So I think, and I genuinely think, to be honest with you, that just comes down to there is an abundance of money there. You look at their population, you look at the number of companies there, you look like they're, you know, I don't know, there's just so much money there. And that, I think, is the reason. And as I said, secondly to that, they associate British with culture, with quality, sorry. Culture as well, maybe, but quality as well. Like, one of the comments I always used to get, is, yeah, you know, this is the same in the UAE as well. British people, they associate with being like well-educated, well-spoken. Maybe not me, but...
I think you're pretty well-spoken, bro.
Thank you, mate.
He's maybe a Wolves babby at heart.
Maybe not the accent, yeah.
I actually don't think it's that strong.
I think it's terrible, mate. But it's okay. I know that. I'm all right. I've dealt with it.
It's okay.
And yet, they associate British people with quality. What do you associate with quality? People you can trust. So if you can trust someone, if you think they're going to deliver your service to them, you have no problem paying for them, paying well for them, and paying up front. I think that's probably, when you were to like go down to the absolute visceral parts of it, the reason why.
So do you think that, like, let's say for an example now, we just picked all of our kind of targeted ads, picked them up, and put them over to the US, and we tripled what the price is of our monthly retainer? They're not going to have any issues trusting us because they're just going to associate us with that because of our accent, because of the way we speak, and because of where we're from.
I wouldn't say triple. I'd say you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. I would say do that. If I'm a dentist, can you guarantee me with the right funnel, with the right service, that I'm going to get results?
Well, yeah.
I'd say go away and do it then. Why haven't you done it yet?
Because I only had the conversation with the kill a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Literally, that's the only reason why.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that just seems... I think, obviously, I'm a bit older than you. Done a bit more, more rounds in the ring, I suppose. But, like, to me, that seems so obvious. Yeah. Like, you know, go and try it there. They're English speaking. You know, even down to, like, the language side of things.
I even think our ads would be received a little bit better. It's like, oh my God, listen to his accent, bro. Yeah, swipe up. I'll swipe up now.
Maybe. Ultimately as well, like their buying culture is a lot more different. I'd say that British people are very like...
Stingy, negative.
You know, most people hate our government. Most people hate our tax sort of... and what we charge. Most people just generally have a bad relationship with money, have a negative relationship with money, not
and
just that, but spending money. I think, you know, ultimately, you know, I've always had I don't mind spending to accumulate. In terms of my risk profile, I would say I'm actually quite pro risk, which is why I've also wasted a lot of money. But I'm happy to admit that and say that I've done that. And I've learned the lesson from it. In America, I think they're a lot more happy to give things a go, especially once you hit that right target market. Like, they're happy to give something a go. They're happy to, you know, test something out. Where here, you know, ultimately to work on a similar sort of lead, you're gonna have to put in twice the amount of effort, you know, twice the amount of conversations with them. Maybe go and meet them in person. In the UK, everyone just thinks everyone's a scam all the time. Yeah. And that's just because everyone's going around scamming each other, ripping each other off. You know, that's unfortunately the online culture as well.
You mentioned that you were scrolling through TikTok and you saw a video.
Yeah.
That led me on to think, what's your opinion on, for instance, there's like maybe one side of like this Wi-Fi money community and like the people that are trying to make it, it's like, you have to go into monk mode. No fun, no phone, like no social media, no...
Why is he smiling?
Whatever it is. Like, what's your opinion on something like that?
Very opinionated on it, I'd say. I deal with some people who are very pro monk mode, you know, go and fly to a villa in God knows where and lock in for a month and just 8 hours of work a day, every single day. My view on that is, you know, every single person is efficient in different ways and there's certain things that certain people do that make you really efficient, which is different to the next person. If you want to go out and have a beer on a Friday night with your mates, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be a successful entrepreneur on the Monday. You know, if you want to go and have a burger with your missus on the weekend or a bit of pasta or some fucking carbs, go and have them, look at me, you know. There is a time to work and really lock in and do business, but ultimately, as I said, there has to be an exchange of happiness for that as well. If you are, miserable at your desk and not able to take calls with your clients because you're tired, or you felt like you haven't eaten properly, or because you felt like you haven't let off some steam on the weekend, or that sort of thing, I would actually say that it causes you more harm than good mentally. For me, if I try, for example, let's use alcohol as an example, just because it's the most commonly known one. But, I generally don't drink, unless I'm like traveling somewhere or going to see some friends or whatever. Like, I would never just have like a glass of wine with my missus on like a Friday night. Part of that's easy because, she's like a triathlete and runs Ironmans and all this sort of...
That's fucking sick.
Way cooler shit than me.
That's so fucking cool, bro.
Yeah, she's way too cool for me. Cut that out, actually. And then, we would never do that. But then equally, I would say that I was in Ibiza with her and like a couple friends like last week. Like, I ripped it harder over the 4 days and probably made up for the previous 3 months that hadn't drank. So equally, does that make me any less of a great business owner or a great entrepreneur, or the wisdom and knowledge that I want to share on this podcast today? Does that discredit that? Or no? I personally not. I think it just makes me human. Like, everyone's got their vices, whether it's you boys banging a snuss in or something like that, or me having a beer.
When I go right, let me pull that back. Yeah. Snoozing, that is a productivity device.
I actually agree. Scandinavians swear by that.
Bro, when I'm sat at the desk and I need to go into some deep work, I pop one in. It is like, you forget that it's even there, and you're just...
Little upper decky.
Bro.
Yeah, I like it. No, I... So yeah, just like... I think that, look, you got to be happy. If you want to go and do monk mode and lock in, and, if you think that's going to help you, then yeah, go for it. What my issue is, as with everything with life, is that as long as it's not forced onto me and everyone makes their own decisions and, does whatever makes them happy, as like, bit wet as it sounds, as long as you're happy, as long as you're happy with the results that, one, you're providing for your clients, which is the thing that matters to me the most, but two, the results that you're creating and the opportunities that you're creating to live your life, then that's all that really matters.
I think
it's a great answer.
Yeah, it was a good answer. I think my opinion on this stuff, the easiest way to put it is like, don't do things that will genuinely detriment your Monday, for instance, or your Wednesday if you've got a big meeting, whatever. But a bit of Netflix of an evening, or scrolling on your phone for a couple of hours, if that's what you enjoy, or playing some PS with the boys, or whatever that bit of enjoyment may be, as long as it's not detrimental to what you're doing the next day and you're not staying up until God knows what hours doing whatever you're doing, it's 100%. Completely fine.
It's like anything, man. You've got to find the balance.
100%. And you've got to almost, I think, identify what are the pillars that you care about the most. Like, for me, you would look at this whole monk mode biohacking situation. I am a big believer in like the biohacking side of things. Like, I'm cranking enough pills every single day to, kill a fucking elephant. Like
supplements or
supplements, yeah. Supplements. Let's make it very, very clear. Supplements. Like, I am down the web at the moment.
What do you take?
So, magnesium, cordyceps, like fish oils, D3, B2. I take it all.
Shilajit.
No, not Shilajit. No,
magnesium is one of my favorites.
Magnesium is a game changer, and like I take all of them because I genuinely can tell a difference when I'm taking them versus if I'm not. I swear to God, maybe it's a placebo. I don't care. But the way I'm thinking is, if that's making me just 1%, but I actually feel like 10% better each day, then it's worth taking. Mm-hmm. So that's like number one. Number two is sleep for me, and this is actually, I think, what you're alluding to. If you're scrolling through TikTok. Like, we've all been in them TikTok holes where you're scrolling for like 2-3 hours, and mate, I've just been watching like
doom scrolling. That's what Chris
just
called
doom
it.
scrolling.
He said it
yeah,
to me the other day.
Been watching like a video of a capybara or something like for the last,
it's
like animal fights.
You watch the first one and you go across to the account, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, mate. Or like cooking videos I love to watch. And I'll just be there watching some Italian nan in the kitchen, how to make pasta at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, we've all been there, and I think
that is the definition of a doom scroll.
Doom
right?
scroll,
the Italian grandma, just
absolute brain rot. But
that is the thing. Sorry to cut you off. But that is the thing with scrolling. Like, I saw this video. You know Harry Rotashaw from Sidemen? I saw this video of him, And he was like, he deleted TikTok after someone said to him, can you remember the last 10 videos that you just saw? And you genuinely can't.
You got no
That's
chance,
the thing.
mate.
You are genuinely brain fried when you are just sat scrolling.
Yeah, but look, mate, it's horses for courses, because equally, if it lets you blow off a little bit of steam and actually lets you unwind a little bit, does it really matter? What matters is the impact, the cause and effect to it. If you're scrolling till 3 o'clock in the morning and then you're up at 8 and you haven't got much sleep, like for me, sleep is the thing that I prioritise above everything. Like, I have to get 8 hours of sleep per night. Everyone is like, oh, I don't need 8 hours, I need 4 hours. No, you need 4 hours. Like, the genuine... I'm not a scientist, but there's a lot of studies that I've heard about which basically say... I strictly say heard and not read, because I definitely haven't read them. But like, there's a big percentage, again, men are the worst for it, who think they need less sleep than they do, which means they're sleep deprived, concentration levels go down, output goes down, efficiency goes down, all these sorts of things. Effect. Yeah, they almost think it's
went to bed at 12:01 and woke up at midnight and I'm fresh.
It's like a brag, isn't it? It's like, you only need 4 hours sleep per night. No.
It's bullshit.
It's bullshit. Like, your recovery, like, people don't realise the amount of recovery that your brain, like, happens to your brain without, like, when you're sleeping. And like, for me, I genuinely, if I don't have 8 hours, feel like shit. Now, if I go to bed at 1, and I'm waking up at like 6, 7, I'm not really getting the sleep that I need, which means I can't deliver the best possible service to my clients. And sometimes I actually guilt trip myself a little bit, because again, I will always tie it back to what can I do to deliver the best possible service to my clients, which means I'm going to get better retention and so on and so forth, make more money, all this sort of shit. If I'm not concentrating, if I can't be bothered to do the ruck of emails that I have every morning when I wake up, and it takes me half a day to get to them, then I'm not really being genuine with my service. I'm not delivering that best possible service. So I almost guilt trip myself a little bit. Just like, if you're, again, like a younger agency owner, younger business owner watching this, I'd say, like, routine is everything, a bit of structure is everything, especially if you are a business owner, because generally business owners are predisposed to being a bit OCD, a bit ADHD, all of the things that I definitely know I've suffered with. Structure, routine, get yourself in that motion, and your output will massively, massively increase because of it.
And the momentum builds as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you'll start getting those wins, and then those wins don't attribute to nothing. Do you know what I mean? Those wins have become because you've actually made a positive, like, change towards creating those wins.
I want to speak to you about the Gentleman's Croquet Club. Yeah. I know it's something that we didn't want to touch on too much, but I want to bring it up because I'm curious, and I know that Chris is as well.
Yeah.
For the people that don't know at home, that's Iman Gadzhi's community, right?
Yeah, correct.
How did you get involved within the community and becoming quite a pivotal role as well?
Well, I mean, I suppose, where do we start? We've got members from 45 plus countries across 6 continents across the world. I don't know if there's any other membership club out there that can boast that, I suppose. Equally, in fairness to Iman, I don't think there's any other person out there who could bring all those people together. That's
his personal brand's so strong.
Yeah, his personal brand's amazing, mate. Like, it's a testament to him. And do you know what? He's a good guy. Like, there's a lot of people out there of status which I've met, and they've not hit the mark in terms of what I thought they were going to be like.
We name dropping on that. I'm joking.
And people say don't meet your heroes, don't they?
Don't meet your heroes, but here I am today in front of you, pair.
Are you supposed to be our heroes or the other way around?
No, you invited me on this podcast. But no, I mean, he's a really genuine guy. He's a really nice guy. What I'd say is, like him, love him or hate him, you get exactly what you're in for with him. So yeah, he started that he started that membership club, and I was a member of it first and foremost, along with Ali Haider, who is the CEO of GCC, and just sort of was very active as a member inside of the community, trying to offer as much value to people as possible. People often see value as give or take, when actually it needs to be exchanged. What can I do for you? I'm not going to charge you for it. I'm not going to... Young bucks especially have this issue with, like, going inside a community, like, just sell. This is my product. This is what I want to sell to you, so on and so forth. I just went in and was like, look, whatever you need help with, I'm going to help you with from a marketing perspective. So people are asking for websites, people are asking for a connect, and this, like as I said, this little like black book of network that I built over the previous few years, I was sort of giving people access to. And then me and Ali really hit it off. So Ali is like, we call him Al Patron. He's like the CEO of GCC, as I said. And we hit it off, and he just turned around to me one day and said, look, mate, we're looking for a bit of help on the marketing side of things. Would you be interested in coming on board? And I said, I'd obviously jumped at the opportunity of it because, obviously Iman's gig and that sort of thing, and having access to someone like him is very valuable, and his network is very valuable. And obviously, I thought, why not? So I come on board. They asked me sort of what I was looking for, and we managed to come to an agreement in terms of where they needed help and what I could help with. And then, yes, the rest is history, I suppose. I help do their marketing. So my official title is the CMO of GCC, which is pretty cool when you say it out loud.
So 1 minute, just for the trailer part as well. Just in short, you are in the C-suite of one of Iman's businesses.
I suppose so, yeah.
It's pretty fucking cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is cool, mate. And look, I'm very lucky to, I want to be clear, I'm very lucky to have been given that opportunity. It's a very cool business. I genuinely have some of the best friends from inside of that community. And that community, first and foremost, before I even touched anything to do with being part of like the team, I hate the word C-suite and everything like that, is, first and foremost, that community helped change my life with the business that I got from it and the revenue that I got from it. Like the people inside of it.
When you first joined, what position were you actually in with your agency?
Just like, I wasn't attuned to this whole online sort of network. Like, I wouldn't have been flying to Dubai to meet someone who I'd met online. Like, that just wasn't me. I was just like, I only ever knew my sort of circle, if that made sense. GCC was like the OG online community. And don't get me wrong, there's some other amazing communities out there, online communities, but I actually think when it comes down to it, they're all GCC is not perfect. We like anyone have to work on our product. We're always trying to evolve and be better. But like for me, it was like the original thing that like opened my eyes to like there's this whole online world out there. And from that, like I was really able to capitalize on the opportunities that come to me. The thing is with an online community, there's two ways in which you go about maximizing your return on it. Number one is having a service-based business like mine, a marketing agency where I was able to offer my services to other members, not in a hard way or hard selling. I would help go and, that reciprocity sort of way, I would help go and fulfill requests for them free of charge. And then they go to me, well, actually, I need some ads, or I need a website, or, I need an app building, this sort of thing. And then that's obviously where you're making your money. Or the other way is like if you're an e-com guy, let's say your business is doing like 100K a year or something like that, and then all of a sudden you're in a community with an e-com guy whose business is doing $1 million a year, you just jump on a call with him and you say to him, mate, what's the secrets to it? And there all of a sudden you're chatting to someone whose business is doing 10 times the amount of what your business is doing. Now, yeah, they're not making direct cash from that, but equally the learnings and skills that they can get from that are huge.
One thing I've realized as well with speaking to some of the more successful guys that we've had on not even more successful, the guys that are further along their journeys, they are so quick to find a problem in your business and try and help you find a solution. And they're like, they don't expect anything back. They just want to help.
Because they know the value in which they can create and actually the long-term value that will come from it in terms of like, when you first start your business, normally quite short-term orientated, in terms of like, what can I get from this relationship here and now? When actually what you need to look at is what can I get from this relationship in 6 months' time, a year's time, a couple of years' time? And that's very much the way that I always approach things, whether it was by luck or I don't know. That's always what worked quite well for me. I was actually just giving a load of value and, seeing then what come from it, like what naturally evolved, not pushing the hard sell. And And as I say, I firmly believe that GCC is the best community out there for that value exchange. I can guarantee you could list me 5 of your biggest problems within your agency, and I would post them on we have like a request tab on GCC. I would post them, and within, let's give it a day, you'd have an answer for every single one of them, or at least even not a direct answer, someone who can put you in contact with someone who can give you that answer. Now, that for me is worth its weight in gold, you know. Having access to, I think, you know, as I said, 40 members from 45 different countries. Even if you want to say, right, guys, I want to go to Miami tomorrow. Who's there? Someone will be there. I want to go to Dubai tomorrow. Mate, there's loads of guys in Dubai. You know, that sort of thing, just knowing someone who's there, who's you know, living there also helps you have such a better experience when traveling, which is obviously a huge pillar of that community is travel as well, and, you know, borderless travel.
Bro, I want to join this community. Sold.
You sold?
Yeah, I'm sold.
Mate, well, you know.
We're waiting for our 10% discount code on the course, Gooms Pod, and also our invite in December to Dubai.
Rip me, guys. You take the clothes off the back shortly. Yeah. I think the current status is we're building a wait list at the moment to relaunch the product soon. We've just been, for the past 6 months, to be honest with you, Ali, the rest of the team and myself have just been really working on trying to bolt down the core deliverables of the community, what the members really want. You know, we've got some cool things which we're announcing soon. We've got a trip coming up in Dubai, which, you know, we're going to open as well to a few non-members. So if you fancy a trip in Dubai and you want to come and you want to have that taste of the community, I'd definitely say get along to something like that. You know, me and Ali aren't going to be there at the back of the room trying to sell you a membership. What we want you to come and do is actually come and say, right, guys, this is what we do. How can you help the rest of our members? How can our members help you? As I said, what's very important to me is that value is exchanged, not taken or just given. It's actually a two-way street. I think if a lot more business owners, forget the agency owners, a lot more business owners in general can twist their mindset towards that, then that'd be a very powerful thing, and they'd probably be making a lot more money.
We are both firm believers of what you put out into the world is what you receive back. And you can look at it in the same way as what you've just said. The more value, the more kind of help that you can give out, more often than not, the more inclined people are to give you the value back and to help you back.
It costs nothing to help someone at all.
Really? Yeah, I mean...
And people are so reluctant to...
Unless someone wants a 20-page website, I mean, that costs something.
But you could still...
I'm joking, bro, I'm joking.
No, but even you saying that, though, is like, if they didn't have the bread to pay for it, you could just point them in the right direction of what to do.
Yeah, and that's something that I definitely try and do. Not everyone who's going to come to you is going to be a customer. But equally, I think that, to be honest with you, mate, again, not to be too wet about it or too deep, but that just generally comes down to being a good person.
Yeah.
You know, are you a good people? There's loads of people who I know out there who have made a lot of money from probably not being the best of people. If it's a value that's important to you, then you've got to own it, and I think you will genuinely reap the rewards of it. I would like to think I'm not perfect. I think I've made that very clear. I'm definitely not perfect, but I do generally try and do the right thing by people. Sometimes maybe blindly doing the right thing by someone, but you know, if you're generally a good person, try and create value for someone, you're gonna, you know, build rapport, build network, build trust. And then in turn, you will reap the rewards from it. You might not do, but that's okay, you know. And I think, you know, that's sort of what I'd say to that.
A lot of people are fixated on giving, but then expecting. If you can give without expecting, more often than not, you're going to get it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think it's important as well to note that you should never devalue yourself or your time. I'm a big believer of your time is the most important thing. All we're doing at the moment is to buy back our time for later in life. And, you know, sometimes there is a thing as giving too much and giving someone too much. I probably wrongly used to do this a lot as well. You know, I'd give so much, never expecting something back, but I'd give so much and actually, you know, didn't know where to draw the line. You know, where's the line that you draw of that? And that's a conversation you got to have with yourself, you know, have with your business partner. You know, what are you guys willing to do to get business on board, and how far are you willing to go? I'd say that's sort of the most important thing when it comes to that.
Before we wrap up, bro, we're going to wrap up in a second.
Am I that boring?
No. Bro, this has been an amazing episode. Genuinely,
I'm
I've really enjoyed it.
Good.
If you could leave the listeners, people that are starting their journey or they're already on it at the start of it, what's one sentence that you'd leave them with that they should take with them and apply to their journey in business and entrepreneurship?
There's two.
Go on then.
Is that all right?
Of course it is.
Again,
No.
don't want to drag this episode on. No. Two things. So one of them I mentioned to you earlier, and you said definitely make that point, and I will make that point. But the first thing is how we do one thing is how we do everything. So whether you're mowing the lawn, or whether you're pitching the biggest proposal to the biggest dental practice in your scenario of your life, do it to the best of your ability. Never make excuses and never cut corners. I have been the biggest corner cutter in my past. I genuinely noticed a difference from when I actually sat down to myself and going, no, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to do it the right way first time. And I don't know if the rules of the universe or something like that, but seemed to do a lot better once I wasn't cutting corners and doing it to the best of my ability. So how we do one thing is how we do everything, and you expect to reap the rewards from that accordingly. The second thing is, generally so much people are captivated on motivation and being motivated and what makes you motivated to get out of bed in the morning, what makes you motivated to go and create your dream life. I'd actually say focus less on motivation and more on discipline. I am not a motivated person. I think I'm a disciplined person most of the time. I think that running an agency, you guys let me know if you disagree. Running an agency is not the most interesting jobs in the world. It's definitely not the worst one. Mm-hmm. Not the most interesting jobs in the world. I don't wake up every single day and super motivated to go and run ads for people or build someone's website or do a load of SEO and keyword research for people. I'm not motivated to do that. What I am is I'm disciplined with the targets that I want to achieve. So there's a big difference, and you can attribute that to anything in life. I don't necessarily enjoy going to the gym because I've done it all my life, but I'm disciplined enough to do so. I'm not motivated necessarily to go to rugby on a Tuesday and Thursday when it's tipping it down in rain and there's lightning and there's thunder, but I'm disciplined to do so I can perform with my team on a Saturday. I think if people can focus a lot more on being disciplined as opposed to being motivated, they'll be a lot more successful. Cut through the hoo-ha and the fucking all the motivational TikToks and Stoke TikToks and stuff like that and Instagram reels. Just be disciplined.
What a man.
Bro. Yeah.
Thank you so much, brother.
Cheers for
Appreciate
the invite,
you coming
boys.
down,
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate your time, bro.
Also, can we just highlight, if you have caught me with a black eye in the camera, this is from Rugby on the Saturday.
I was thinking
we're very close to cancelling this podcast.
No, I was
but
gonna
Harris forced me to come.
I was gonna put a disclaimer in the intro, like disclaimer. He wasn't in a fight. It was just rugby type thing at the start.
It was just a fight in my rugby match. No, it was actually a boot. Got kicked in the face like first minute of the match, but scored a hat trick.
Come on.
Big G.
A sacrifice I was willing to take. Yeah.
Vamos.
Yeah.
Genuinely, bro. Thank you so much, man,
pleasure.
for your time. I really
Probably
appreciate it.
one of the best podcasts I've ever featured on.
Really?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
bro.
much.
Really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank
This
you.
is
We
going to
enjoyed having you
be
on.
Cheers, mate.
this will be our episode 90. So 90 weeks that we've been trying to do this. Here's to the next 90. Hopefully you can feature in one of them as well.
Apologies for having to waste your 90th episode on me.
No,
Don't be crazy,
too
bro.
humble, man. But bro, thank you so much. To everybody at home watching and listening, thank you also. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Turn the bell notification on so you get notified every time we release a podcast. And we'll see you all next week.
Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Peace!
Cheers. Follow me on Instagram. No, I'm joking.